Right, what's up, Dragon Brood? We do have 3 days to get caught up on, so 5, 6, and 7, because there weren't many on 5 and 6, but there's a lot that got previewed today, so let's just hop right into it. We're going to start with Daydream. It's a sorcery, exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control, with a +1/+1 counter on it. Has flashback of 2 and a white. Yeah, this card's just generally useful, right? If you need to blink something for an enter the battlefield effect, or if you just want to do the +1/+1 counter thing, it does have flashback, which is really cool, so you get to reuse this. There's probably a lot of little corner cases where this card's going to be neat to include in some different builds. And if you have anything that cares about something leaving the battlefield, it'll trigger that as well. So lots of cool little uses for a card like this. I don't know that it's stellar, but it's useful. Spirit Call Enthusiast, 2 and a white for a 3/3 cat cleric. Whenever one or more tokens you control enter, this creature becomes prepared. It has Scroll Boost, 1 and a white for a sorcery that 1 or 2 target creatures each get +2/+2 until end of turn. The fact that the ability is a sorcery as well is not great. It's a 3 mana 3/3 with an upside, so I guess it's fine. And limited, we're playing this probably every time, but for 60 card Magic, probably not so much. Practiced Offense, 2 and a white for a sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature target player controls. Target creature gains your choice of double strike or lifelink to end of turn. Has flashback of 1 and a white. This card is going to be very popular. One, just putting counter on everything and then something gets lifelink or double strike. That's pretty huge, especially if you have flyers or something with menace or anything like that. Flashback, also very good. So for 5 mana, you get to, over the course of 2 turns, put a +2/+2 on everything, and something will get double strike or lifelink, right? That's kind of hard to beat. But the reason I think this will always be popular is in Commander, +1/+1 counter decks are quite popular. So it's the type of card that those decks would definitely want. Just free counters to trigger all your stuff. A lot of times getting more than one counter from various sources, and then getting to do it again seems really, really good. Aziza, Mage Tower Captain. White-red, so 2 mana for a 2/2 Djinn Sorcerer. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may tap 3 untapped creatures you control. If you do copy that spell, you may choose new targets for the copy. This is the type of card that has all the words that sound really cool, right? Being able to just copy a spell is great. And at the cost of only tapping 3 creatures, solid. The card itself, it's a 2 mana 2/2, so reasonable. But how powerful is it, right? What are we doing with this? Now, that being said, what we've already seen from the Lorehold decks or the red-white decks so far in the previews is that a lot of stuff does care about removing stuff from graveyard, making an extra body, whatever. So if you have a spell that can remove a thing from the yard, make you a token, and once you've made that token, now you can copy future stuff, and so many things have flashback on top of it. Maybe this is a key part of just that whole Rube Goldberg engine that this deck's trying to build to keep creatures on the battlefield, but who knows? It's a cool card, and I think it could actually be standard playable. I just realized I should apologize. If I sound a little bit stuffy, it's because I have like a nasal thing going on right now. I don't know what's happening. But Fractal Anomaly, just a single blue for an instant. Create a 0/0 green-blue fractal creature token and put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards you've drawn this turn. Like, the fact that too often this card could just be like a 1/1. I mean, I will say this, though. If you're playing some deck that does draw like an extra 2 or 3 cards every turn, which I guess is possible, then a 1 mana 3/3 is strong, at instant speed. So it's got to count for something. Yeah, I don't know how I feel, but this feels like it's either great or it's terrible. It's sort of what it feels. Not even, well, yeah, actually pretty good, right? It's either going to be lackluster and you made a 1/1, or you're going to pay 1 mana, get a 4/4, and it's going to feel great, right? Could also be part of a combo-y type deck, too. If you have a way to just instant speed, draw some cards, play this during your opponent's end step, make like a 5/5 sort of a thing. So there may be some ways you could use this. I wouldn't expect a lot right out of the gate, though. Now, I believe this was the only card we saw on Sunday, which would have been, I guess, day 6. Arc of Hunger, 2 red white for an artifact. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, this artifact deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you gain 1 life. Mill 1 card, you may play that card this turn. Okay, well, this gets really interesting because so far, I believe we were kind of looking at the leave the graveyard stuff or whatever, mostly being around effects that would affect creatures or make spirit tokens or whatever. But this now says there's a world where you could maybe play creatureless even in some control pile and just beat your opponent with, hey, I'm going to mill. Oh, look, this lets me Lightning Helix. So I play Lightning Helix from the yard, remove a creature, your opponent loses a life, you gain a life, you gain the life off Lightning Helix, right? I could see that being a thing. Now, that said, can you also play this in the creature builds that are also removing stuff from the graveyard? Absolutely, right? That just speeds up the clock, but it is 4 mana, whereas I think that works easily or more easily for control piles than for creature decks, but this might have some uses in a few different types of build. People are going to get creative with this card. It looks like a couple of cards here. The next couple have some translation. So this is Talk to the Fractal. It's a sorcery. 2 blue-green. Create a token that's a copy of target non-aura permanent you control, except it's a 0/0 fractal creature in addition to its other types. Put 6 +1/+1 counters on it. Wow. So create a token that's a copy of target non-aura permanent you control. Interesting. So you could copy a land and make your land into a 6/6. You could copy an artifact. You can copy an enchantment. It just has to be a non-aura permanent. This card is very interesting. The fact that you could make a creature copy of so many things needs to be explored. I think this opens up a lot. And 4 mana for a 6/6. If this is a correct translation, it's a 4 mana copy anything, get a 6/6 creature. That's really, really good. Like, this doesn't even feel, it probably is, but it just doesn't feel translated correctly. Just copy anything and get a 6/6. I'm here for it. Am I not reading the create a token that's a copy of target non-aura permanent you control. Yep, so it's copy basically anything, except it's a 0/0 fractal creature in addition to its other types. Put 6 plus, yeah, all right. Well, we'll see if this is a legit card. If it is, this card could be very strong. And then our other one is Adaptive Evolution. 3 green, so 5 mana for an enchantment. When this enchantment enters, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put 3 counters on it. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains vigilance until end of turn. So 5 mana, make a 3/3. And then every turn, put a +1/+1 on something and it gains vigilance. This is fine. Could some versions of the +1/+1 counter deck want this? Like, maybe. 5 mana is kind of a lot for 3/3, but there is the added value of a guaranteed +1 every turn. Though we have other cards that do +1 every turns cheaper with other effects, so this probably doesn't get a lot of play except for in limited. Ambitious Augmenter. A single green mana for a 1/1 turtle wizard. So if you want a small turtle for your turtle decks, here you go. Has increment. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana you spent was greater than this creature's power or toughness, it gets a +1/+1. When this creature dies, if it had 1 or more counters on it, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, then put this creature's counters on that token. This is actually reasonable for a few different decks. Now, I will admit, it is competing in the 1 slot for quite a few quality cards right now in green, right? You have the 2/1 Rabbit, you've got Llanowar Elf, you have the 1/2 that taps to make mana. Like, there's several things you could play in that slot. So you have to really be leaning on the +1/+1 counters to want to play this. But it does give you some wrath protection, right? So if your opponent sweeps the board, you probably get like a 2/2 or a 3/3 in exchange, so there's something attacking the next turn, which I do like. Not sure I like this to be the rare that I would open in some packs. It's neat. We'll just have to wait to see how good it really is. Fractal Tender, 3 blue-green for a 3/3 elf wizard with ward. It also has increment. And then at the beginning of each end step, if you put a counter on this creature this turn, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token and put 3+1/+1 counters on it. Now, this is actually interesting. It costs 5. So let's be honest, 5's a lot for a 3/3, but it does have ward too. But if you have anything that's putting counters on stuff every turn, like caretaker, or not caretaker's talent, the innkeeper's talent, I believe it is, right? Puts a +1/+1 counter. Then you could play this. It puts a counter on it. Then during your end step, you just get a 3/3. That's actually pretty good. Again, 5 is kind of a lot for a 3/3, so we're probably not playing this in a lot of decks. But if you want to go hard on the +1/+1 counters and the fractal tokens and all that, this could be a key piece to it. Planar Engineering, 3 and a green for sorcery. Sacrifice 2 lands. Search your library for 4 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. I don't know. We have so many things that, like, pay 4, get 2 lands, blah, blah. Like, I don't know if this is that exciting. It lets us sacrifice 2 lands and then search. So there's some interesting things here. Like, let's say you've done some, I don't know, earthbending maybe, where you can sacrifice 2 lands, they come right back, and then you get 2 new ones anyway, or 4 new ones anyway. Okay, that's pretty strong. But outside of those type of scenarios, how much better is this than just pay 4, go search 2 lands, pay 2, go get 1, right? Like, I don't know. It's weird that this is a rare. Like, there has to be a reason I'm missing that they wanted this to be a rare. It has to do, something has to happen with the sacrificing of lands that they value a lot in R&D to make this be a rare, I believe. Because the lands you're getting are basics. So, yes, that's specifically for basic land cards. So even that further restricts what you can get. I don't know. I like, ramping is good, but unless there's something really good we could do with the sacrificing of lands, I'm not super excited about this. Harmonized Trio is just a blue mana for a 1/1. You can tap it. It's a Merfolk Bard Wizard, by the way, so Merfolk part of this might be important. Tap it, and 2 untapped creatures you control. This creature becomes prepared and get you access to Brainstorm. Yeah, like, this is strong. But mostly because you don't have to do any of this stuff as a sorcery. So if you are playing it in your Merfolk deck, let's say, you could have a situation where the board's kind of stalled up against another creature deck, and you're like, okay, during your end step, I'll prepare this. I get a copy of Brainstorm. I'll use it. Brainstorm, whatever. So nothing terrible. It's just solid. So, like, yeah, probably could find a home specifically in some type of creature aggro Merfolk type deck, but probably, even though it has Brainstorm attached to it, probably isn't crazy. Emeritus of Abundance, 2 and a green for a 3/4 elf druid with vigilance. It enters prepared. Whenever this creature attacks, if you control 8 or more lands, this creature becomes prepared. And then it has regrowth. As a sorcery, return target creature card from your grave, or return target card, I should say, from your graveyard to your hand. This one's also solid. 3 mana, 3/4, that you also get access to a regrowth. So if you draw it late, 5 mana, you get a 3/4 and get to return something. Seems pretty good. It has vigilance. It's an elf, also could matter. Not a lot to really dislike here. Even in commandery type elf decks, right? Just being able to, every turn, just like, all right, I'm going to keep getting something back from my yard and just do that over again. Yeah, this one's actually really good. This one I could see having some play in a few different ways. Summon Dromedary, 3 and a white for a 4/3 Spirit Camel. It has vigilance. You can pay 1 and a white, return this card from your graveyard to your hand, activate only as a sorcery. This is such an amusing card because it feels like the whole goal is to work with the when something leaves your graveyard type decks, right? But it is a 4 mana 4/3 with vigilance, so it's not like the worst for its cost. And if it dies, you're like, fine, I'll just pay 2, put it back in my hand. Downside is does have to be played as a sorcery, so you have to commit some mana on your turn. Not insane, but I feel if you were probably building a budget version of that deck, this would actually be reasonable to play to help you through the hard times so you got the rares that you needed. This is probably Mica or Mica. I don't know, but Mica normally has an H, so I'm going to go Mica on this one. Reader of Ruins. 3 and a red for a 4/4 human artificer. Has ward of pay 3 life, so that's quite a chunk. Whenever you cast an enter sorcery spell, you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, copy that spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. This is kind of a surprising uncommon. A 4 mana 4/4, reasonable body, right? Only 1 red pip, so very easy to splash into different decks. Your opponent has to pay 3 life if they target it. And there's a lot of ways to make things like treasure or maps or whatever. And you could sacrifice those to copy your spells. I could see this making its way into some type of deck, honestly. Some various Is-It builds, wildly, some different... Yeah, I mean, I could see a few things to do with this. This is kind of surprising. This almost feels like a rare, but it's a... Actually, it's also legendary. I just realized that. Proper name. So it's a legendary uncommon with real abilities on it. Like, this is impressive. Colossus of the Blood Age. 4 red-white, so 6 mana for a 6/6 artifact construct. When this creature enters, it deals 3 damage to each opponent and you gain 3 life. When this creature dies, discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards +1. This is fine, actually. You know where this actually could be good? Whatever that artifact is, where like during your beginning of combat, you can discard a creature or artifact, and then you make a 3/3 golem that's a copy of it, right? Like, this would be perfect for that. Because then you drain your opponent for 3, and then you actually get to discard and draw, give yourself more options. Like, yeah, this actually is just a reasonable card. Nothing crazy or impressive, but it's a type of card that, depending on the type of deck you're building, could be a bit player or like one of the, if you're a sports person, like the glue guy, right, on the team. It's not the card you're really looking for, but if you're on the right theme or the right mechanics to make this work, could be a fun piece. Echocasting Symposium. 4 blue for a lesson. Sorcery. Target player creates a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Wait. Target player creates a token that's a copy of a target creature you control. And then it has paradigm. So then you exile the spell, and after the first resolve of the spell with this name, you can cast a copy of it from exile without paying it. Yeah. I don't... Target player creates a token. So you can target yourself to make a target of a copy of a creature, and then you just get to do this again. I mean, sure. 6 feels like a lot. I feel like we have other blue cards right now in Standard that let us copy for 6 mana various ways, right? Dealing damage during your upkeep, you make a copy of a thing, you know. I mean, this is probably fine, but I don't think this is a thing you really want to be playing in Standard most of the time. 6, like, because you have, first off, you have to have a creature, and you have to have 6 mana, and then you effectively want those creatures to sit around. Or, like, I don't know, maybe this is okay. I don't know, it does get exiled, and you get copies of it each turn. So maybe that's the payoff here. Just getting to do it every turn seems good. So it's like, I guess it doesn't really matter, because if the creature dies, then you just copy the next thing that's out there at the start of your turn. Like, yeah. I think I'm talking myself into this card. Enough that I would be willing to play it, actually. If you like playing creature decks, I say go for it. I went from, I don't know, to, yeah, play this card. Like, it took about a minute, but I talked myself into it. Play this card. It's actually kind of cool. The more I sit here and think about it, there's more interesting things I think to do with it. So expect to see me build something with this. Mind into Matter. That's a fun thing. X green blue. Sorcery. Draw X cards. Then you may put a permanent card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Wow. This is actually pretty cool. So let's say you did this for 5 mana. So you draw 3 cards, and then you get to put a 3 mana or less thing onto the battlefield just because. I could be talked into this. This is a fun card. So, like, just load my hand and play a body. Right? Like, this is cool. I mean, it doesn't have to be that. It just says permanent, so it could be artifact, enchantment, whatever. Yeah, this is a cool card. Pterafractyl. That's one of the coolest names ever, actually. Pterafractyl. X green blue. It's a dinosaur fractal, in case that matters. Flying, this creature enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. When this creature enters, you gain 2 life. And it's a 1/0, not an 0/1, which is very interesting. This is a quirky card. It could go into a dinosaur deck. It technically is going to be kind of small most of the time, but it does fly, and you gain 2 life. So if you paid 4, you get a 3/2 flyer, and you gain 2 life. That's okay for 4 mana. It's not crazy, but it's not bad. It's just kind of alright. It's a common, so you can't really expect too much from it. But it's an interesting design for a card at the very least. Flow State, 1 in a blue. Sorcery, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 of them into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. If there is an instant card and a sorcery card in your graveyard, instead put 2 of them into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. Man, it's hard to be excited about blue cards that say do something, look at the top X, put cards in your hand, because we have so many good ones right now that are hard to overlook. And even if it's not that, it's consult the star charts, right? That lets you look at like 7 cards or whatever. So this is playable. Don't know if it'll see a lot of play until we get to one of the future rotations, but it's not a bad card. All right, I think that catches us up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. You can see all the other previews because this set has been bonkers. But yeah, what impressed y'all today? Because there was a lot here. I think that we could have a lot of conversations over in the comments. But that's all I have for now. We'll see you next time.